Hi everyone, welcome to the e-Core Career Talks. I'm Fernanda. I work here as a global recruiter at e-Core, and I will be your host for this season. For those who doesn't know, the Career Talks is a series of events focused on career development, technology, and life at e-Core. Our company is based in Brazil, Mexico, and United States, boasting amazing multicultural teams. And we have been recognized as a great place to work for the last 16 consecutive years. Yes, and we are proud to be recognized as the best company for work in Brazil and Mexico in the categories of mid-sized and small-sized companies. Knowing to build a network for professional skills and networking, we thought about doing this session for you guys. So today's panel discussions promises to offer valuable perspectives from special guests who are in touch daily with our candidates, HR managers, and know a lot about careers. To the attendees, I encourage you to actively participate, ask questions, and engage with the topics discussed. Uh, Also, this is a great opportunity to gain insights directly from ECOR professionals and to better understand what makes ECOR a unique place to work. So let's get started with our panel discussion. I want to give a warm welcome to our special guests. Thank you for being with us today. So how about introducing yourselves? Who want to go first?
Hi, Fê. Hi, Vivi. First of all, thank you a lot for the invite. It's a pleasure to be here. And quick introductions about myself. My name is Henrique. I am here at São Paulo City, near one of the offices from the car, and have been working as IT headhunter for almost 6 years and at the core for 2 years now.
Yeah, amazing. Hey guys, so introducing myself briefly, I'm Vivi or Viviane. I have a degree in psychologist, and I have been part of the core team for over a year now. But wow, in general, I work focus on technical positions, both internally and for our clients.
Nice. All right. So our special guest has been introduced, and it's time to officially kick off the talk. Just a reminder to the attendees: feel free to send questions, and that we'll have a dedicated space to answer some of them. So let's start talking about smart networking building. Uh, what's the importance of networking for professionals' growth within your core? Wanna answer that one.
Can I move first, Vivi?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Good, good. That's a good question, uh, Fê. And to be honest, I'd like to answer it in a more broad scope than just within the core. You know, when we talk about smart networking and when we talk about building relationships, I think network it's a crucial part of our professional life in different aspects. You know, usually when we talk about network, the first thing that comes to mind is hey, asking for opportunities or talking about professional opportunities. But away beyond this, network is a tool that you can use to stay relevant, and to contribute for professional growth, not just for you, but for the others too, So when we talk about networking, it's quite broad, and we can talk about, indeed, ask and offer opportunities, this is the one. But this is a way to be up to date about new knowledges on your field, be able to quickly know what is kind of a more technology project and things like that your colleagues and peers are working on. So network as a whole, I will not say just within the core here at the core, but in a general way, it's an important tool for a professional career as a whole. Since the way that you work, the way that you work with your teammates, and be able to pay attention in your tracking records. This is quite valuable, and for me, that network is the way to do this. So this is my answer. I don't know, Vivi, if you want to complement something, but this is the way that I see when you talk about networking.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Ricky. Totally.
Good.
Nice. So we can go to the next one. What are the best practices for initiating and maintaining a solid professional connection on LinkedIn?
Yeah, okay, I can take this one. So, I think it would be a good standard for you to invite someone who you really believe that can add something to your network. So, for example, follow the posts, interact in the comments, and all those kind of things. But it's also cool when you send an invite with a brief introduction of yourself. So it could be a good idea to stay in touch with this way. I think that you can have a really good and solid professional connection there in this way.
Nice. And thinking about that, can you guys share an example of how networking positively impacted your career at e-Core, especially?
Yeah,
That's a good one.
I think we both can answer this question, right, Ricky? We both can add something here. You can go first if you want.
Yeah, sure. Uh, Again, when you talk about networking, usually we are talking about track records. So I think my network helped me even before that I started to work here at Ecor, because I already worked to build a good one. So it's a tip that we can share with you. And for example, when you are moving as a IT recruiter, bring some daily examples to attend a manager or some colleague in different areas. Uh, a lot of times a new relationship and have a good tracking records working with another partners, even the same company, because companies are different in terms of size, in terms of colleagues, in terms of connections. It can help you navigate better with these colleagues. So this is one of the examples that I can bring. Like I'm attending a manager when I have to attend a new one that we don't have some relationship yet. This manager, in a way or another, knows about your work and has some clues about your profile or something like this.
Yeah, I can tell a little bit more about my experience itself. It's a little bit different because, well, I joined e-Core through a referral. So it had a total impact in my career, like literally. So a friend of mine recommended me to Fernanda, who is here right now, who already contacted me to carry out all the selection process, and it worked a lot. I'm here, so yeah. So it was pretty good. So I received a really good recommendations of the company and of, I don't know, the persons working here. So yeah, it was really important for me and for my career as a whole.
Great. And related to that also, how can professionals interested in e-Core use virtual and in-person events to expand their contact networks?
Yeah. Okay, I think that I can answer this one too. So I think that these events are great for you to get to know us more. So find out what are the possible teams and areas that you could work in here, but mainly to gain visibility. So sometimes we ended up to requiring some faces during these events, and it's super cool when you go to talk to someone afterwards, and they comment that they are already that they were at a lecture, for example, or some event that we do sometimes in some colleges, and then they started following us because of this. So it's pretty cool. And these are the details that help you to stand out and show interest, in the company. So during a selection process, this would be super cool. So yeah, guys, keep in touch with us. Try to be participative in all those events because we really like it. Not sure if he has something to add here, because he already went with me also in some of those events, so it was super cool.
No, I completely agree. Keep in touch, observe what is the company are doing, the kind of projects that maybe you can share experience here or are interested in knowing more about, talk about. That's a good way.
Yeah, and just adding something, it's very nice when we are in a event in person and someone that has connected with us by LinkedIn approach us and we start talking, and it's very nice because we are like, oh, we already know each other, but let's see how it goes in person. If it work for both of us, we have this position or something that can work for both. So it's very nice. So what are the most common mistakes that people make when trying to network, and how can how can they be avoided?
Cool, cool. I think it's connected in some way with the last question, but I would like to share my opinion and vision about it. I think one of the main stakes is when you just consider networking when you need it. Again, I think it's quite important and strategic that you dedicate some time to networking and build indeed um, some relationships in the market in a general way. For example, suppose that you need a job or something like this, and you just are sending messages for people that you don't know or don't have a relationship asking for a job. Okay, this is a way, but it's quite more interest. For example, if you participate in a community and if you are engaged in some way, like talking about important topics, talking about emerging technologies when you talk about IT, share knowledge, mentor someone, and rising up discussions, that are important for you and for the market in a general way. So I think this is one of the biggest mistakes. You just consider networking something like asking for a job or asking for opportunities or offer this kind of opportunity. Try to treat it with the respect that it deserves. Like, okay, I will spend some time with some kind of intention, with some kind of focus on aggregate, in the others' careers and be able that they collaborate with me too. It's a kind of how can I say this? You help and are helped too. You know. I know. I think this way. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes. Please, Vivi, if you have another or different opinion, let's share.
No, yeah, I totally agree, Hiki. And I think that maybe the next question kind of will say something about it too, will be related. But I totally agree with what you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
nice. So this next one is very important. How do you maintain a balance between being persistent and being convenient when trying to establish a new professional connection?
Yeah. So what I was saying, like it's kind of related, and for what I saw here, I think that someone also asked something kind of similar to this question too. So maybe it could be already an answer for this person. But yeah, I think that this is a very subtle difference, because the first thing, in my opinion, is always to maintain education, right? Like let's be polite, the basic. So regardless of the situation, I think that this is always the first step. And I think it's worth to understanding that despite LinkedIn, like it's a social media, for example, it's not so common for people to access it daily, you know. So it may take a while for them to reply to you or something like that. So in these cases, it's worth to do a follow, you know, do a follow up with this person, but not demanding a response for them. But maybe try to make yourself available, you know. So, for example, oh, hey, how are you? I'm not sure if you saw my last message, but I am available when you are free. So, if you want to, please reach out to me. It would be a pleasure to talk to you, you know. So, try to do a little bit different, you know, instead of you asking something, like make yourself available to talk with this person. Maybe this could be a good way to keep in touch and establish all those network, you know. So try to put yourself in the other person's shoes, you know, so you do not cross this line and become an inconvenient person. But that's it, you know, it's kind of a really small line, so it's you need to be careful. So try to put yourself in these other person's places. I think that it may help.
Yeah, it's very important.
Fair.
You can
I
go.
would like just to add something, in Vivi's answer. It's exactly this, and be polite is one of the best ways, to keep this balance. Good sense. But I think, again, just connecting with what we are talking, instead of just send some kind of message without no connection, asking for the opportunities or something like this, try to understand what is that person, for example, if it's a new connection, write someone that you don't know, what is this person is working on, what is the kind of thing that can be interest for you and for the other person that maybe you can share, like, hey, I'm doing this kind of project, I see that you have a lot of accomplishments in this field, what is your opinion about, how can you help me, what is the pitfalls, and try to be more interested in this conversation, instead of just asking for opportunities, try to share, some kind of knowledge, some kind of thing that both of you can build a relationship to talk about. It's just a tip to
Yeah,
refine, let's say, your approach.
yeah, sure. It's a small thing line that makes the difference. And in what way does the core culture and values influence the networking process within the company? What do you guys think?
That's a good one. uh, I think a car has a great set of values, you know, and basically, again, when we talk about networking, your track record is quite important. So sometimes we are talking with someone or with some professional that have good reference, it's quite nice to know, for example, some projects that you worked within some people and things like that.
Sure. And how can you build a long-term relationship that can bring mutual benefits to both parts involved, being a recruiter and a candidate?
Yeah, I think that building these relationships usually comes through communication, you know, and that I think also it will be related to our values and our culture here, as Ricky were saying on the question before this one. So participating in groups, being active on social medias and all those things, you know. For example, trying to bring my example here again. I have a recruiting colleague with who we never worked together, so we never saw each other like personally, you know. We met on LinkedIn, and then we talked about career and market challenges. So we started to scheduling some benchmarks too, and so on. So this has been around for, I don't know, I think that about 3 years, I think, and we still have contact. So I think that communication and common topics helps a lot with it. So you know, try to be active there with this person who you are trying to build this relationship, maybe a recruiter or maybe someone that work at the same area as you, and try to say something, comment something in the post that they are doing, share some articles that you think that could add in this career, and all those things. So I think that it's kind of easy, it's communication. Try to find something in common and try to talk with them.
Nice. And how can network help in preparation for selection process and interviews?
Oh, that's another good question. Fit, just a curiosity, can you see me on the screen? Yeah,
Yes,
I
I
had
can.
a problem with my camera. I'm seeing all
No,
black
we are
here.
seeing you. Don't
Okay,
worry.
that's great. That's great. I think you can use your network, for example, in some interview process, mainly related to try to get some knowledge about the culture of the company as a whole. You know, maybe you can have some colleague or someone that are in your networking in this company, maybe not. But anyway, I think it's quite important that you understand the values, understand the culture of the company. You know what you are applying for, and you can try to read someone, the company, a connection or a connection. Bring that you, for sure, make your lesson. Explore the culture and things like that. But asking, for example, about tips in terms how the companies think, what is the organizational culture and this kind of thing, even to be sure that you match for the company and the company match for you. So I think it's a good way to use your networking for some process.
Yeah. And very related to that, what strategies do you guys recommend for using networking as a continuous learning tool?
I think that thinking in this way, it's a great opportunity to understand how people have developed professionally, and also, for example, thinking about the IT market, for example, which is always updating, like in a daily basis, it seems that something new is happening there. So I think it's worth to understand if they recommended, I don't know, a newsletter, a YouTube channel, some courses, articles, book, and or anything that helps you with knowledge. So everyone has a way to learnings, and sometimes it's an opportunity for you to find a new one. So try to change those kind of informations, talk to someone, say to them what ways you like to learn something. Maybe it's in practice, so maybe, I don't know, using some kind of tools like HackerRank or LeetCode, or maybe it's really reading something, so a book or article, or listening, so a YouTube channel, as I said, or podcasts. So sometimes having these connections, you can really try to find the new ways to learn, always keeping updating in this world. So it's a good one.
Yeah. And how can professionals identify and connect with mentors and influencers in their areas of interest?
Mm, that's good. In different ways, but to be practical, let me share some example here at the core, and that you can try to replicate in your current company or even with someone that's not part of your connection. But it's quite nice. People like to share, usually, and you can try to bring some new ideas and ask for some kind of orientation or opinion for that project. So probably you discover some mentors, in different areas, in different teams that can aggregate a lot in your career. And some quite interesting this question because, for example, sometimes you can have a reference that someone that's quite good in projects, but you know that you need to be a better negotiator, for example, so you can search for content on LinkedIn. You can try to reach a salesperson in your company or something like this to ask for this help, and you discover a lot of talents that are open to help you, and for sure build some smart networking, when you do this kind of thing. So this
Yeah,
is my take for this answer, this question.
and also, just to add something here, that is something that we always say here at the core, is that sometimes when you talk with someone from outside, so from another company or something like that, sometimes they will have another kind of vision that you have about a problem, for example, or anything. So it will help you to try to think out of the box, So sometimes you kind of is in a loop, and talk to someone from outside and not necessarily inside your team or your area. It will helps a lot. So yeah, I think that helps a lot, and it's good to have these persons in touch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to complement, say, networking is a complex. It's complex. So as we talked before, try to treat it with part of your job task. Example, every Monday, try to reserve some time to share some knowledge, to connect you with new people, make new connections, things like that. And as you go the way you open, so you become better in establish this kind of connection, because in the beginning can be quite hard, can be difficult to try to establish this kind of connection. So I think it's good that you treat networking, for example, as a job task.
Yeah. Yeah. And thinking about that, all these connections and maintaining this, what do you guys think that is the importance of participating in professional groups and communities on LinkedIn for career development?
Yeah, again, we can link for the to the previous questions here. So it's very similar. But it's nice to participate in these communities because it can be a good way to find new ways to learn. So as we said, connecting with mentors, but also share your thoughts. It can be also a good option to clear up doubts and everything else. Not to mention that there are very united communities. So for example, well, I work usually more with the IT area, so I know that we have some Java guys that they are very, very united, and they are always changing some news about the technologies and tools and all those things. So it must be super cool, I think. So yeah, it's super important to participate in these groups and communities and chats. Maybe, for example, I know that inside Slack, we also have a lot of groups there that you can find and try to participate and exchange ideas. So it's very, very important.
Yeah. And just to change a little bit the focus, how do you usually work on your network? Where did you start? Any of you?
Okay, how I usually work and where I started. um, as we mentioned before, your tracking record, your networking, something that you should pay attention during all your career. So track record and reputation is quite important. Will not go deeper on the details, but everyone understands this. You can start networking in different ways, with different approaches. Since in your neighborhood, let's say, uh, from a big company, corporate events and things like that. People are all around, and you can work to establish connections with these people all the time. Um, I consider that I started my relevant network in terms of professional career in my first job, with this corporate idea, with talented people and things like that. And how I work on my network, That's a good question. Are different ways to work with this. You have different strategies, but usually I spend some time during the weeks, right, to connect with new people and to keep the relationships that I already built it on my journey. And for sure, a lot of people come to me too on my LinkedIn. So we have different topics to talk about and things like that. But this is the way, So, for example, when I have some specific professional challenge or um, you know fighting with myself to understand something, I can access some persons that I worked before or that I'm working at this moment and ask, hey, can you share with me your experience because I'm facing this and that. And usually people are quite open to share with you. It's a good way to building this kind of relationship as we shared before. So is this weekly I spend some time to select some kind of strategy. It can be social selling. It's not my style, but can be your style. You can write a lot of articles, share a lot of knowledge on LinkedIn and other platforms. This is one way. You can try to keep the relationships that you already built in the past with some colleagues and invest some time to build new ones and move in your own company, to establish this kind of relationship. So just some tips about it.
Yeah. Now, a different question. What are the best ways to approach someone in your network to ask for advice or insights about a selection process?
Yeah, I can take this one. But guys, like the best way is always to approach it politely and objective. Also, please. So briefly explain your current professional situation, the stage of the process you are in, and understand if it is possible to share any tips to prepare for it. Sometimes we can, sometimes not so much, but we try always, I swear. So when in doubt, you stick to the basic, it always work. So try to understand a little bit more. Say, hey, you have some tips for this step of the process. So sometimes it's an HR interview, maybe it's a technical interview, a leadership, a customer. And we can share a little bit more of details or maybe a general advice, so for example, try to keep a good storytelling. So try to read a little bit more about, I don't know, star methodology, for example. So we always can try to help you with this, but try to be always polite and objectively with what you want, you really want there, what you are asking for. So it's something that will help us a lot, and we can try to help you in the best way we can. Not sure if Henrique has something to add here.
Yes, Vivi. Yes. Uh, exactly as you said. I can share a recently example. An engineer sent me a message, and we received a lot of them per day. And he said, "Hey, Henrique, I think I'm met for this position because of this experience. I have these qualifications, etc., etc." And it was surgical because he studied the job description, so he knows about what he's talking about. He identified the opportunities open in our career, so it's not kind of vague message like, hey, if you have any kind of opportunity or something like that. And he has the skills, he had the skills. So for sure, I shared the profile with the team, like, hey, can make sense, and he advanced a lot of on the process. So your answer is surgical. Be polite, be objective, know about what you want and what you deserve. That's a good way. Mainly when you don't have connection with the person, it's a new one.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, but Vivi said earlier. Can you guys share a case where networking helped you or someone that you know to get a new job opportunity, uh, someone inside or outside the core?
Sorry, I already talked about mine. So go ahead, Henrique.
My example is the same one that Vivi gave.
No, that's good. Again, as we are talking about networking that helped someone find some opportunities, it's happened all the time in the marketing. A lot of opportunities. People just go to people they trust, and ask, "Hey, do you know someone that can match someone that?" Basically, they are asking, "Do you know someone that I can trust?" you know, and that happen a lot. Sometimes in the ways that you even don't imagine. So my tips about it, I don't want to talk about uh, a lot about this topic, but keep your networking. Connect with people, establish good relationships, smart relationships, and probably things will come better. You will get some results when you talk about networking in a general way.
Yeah, and just to add something here, as I already talked about my story, so I'll talk about another one. Because it's really, really important, to have this networking. And when you guys show us that you are interested in this position or at the company or something like that, probably Fernanda and also Henrique too. We really remember this person. Sometimes it takes a while for me to remember the name, but I remember like the face, and I will go find this person sometime. So I really go ahead with it. So sometimes when opens a new position, it just came in my mind like, oh my god, I remember this person from the another process that he participated, and I don't know why. Unfortunately, it didn't work. But I will try to reach out to this person again right now. So it really helps us to remember you, and keep this networking. So I have some candidates that sometimes they send me a message on LinkedIn or send me an email and a message on WhatsApp or something like that. And this helps a lot, because it really happens here with us. So sometimes when open a new position, we just remember this person and just go find it, So really try to keep this network with everyone. Is really, really important.
Yeah, great. In parallel, just adding, guys that are watching us, if you have any doubts, please send us in the comments that we are going to answer later. So continuing, how can professionals use networking to stay updated on trends and innovations in their fields?
Again, networking is a way not just for asking and offer opportunities, but to keep you up to date and relevant in the market. So, example, you have someone that are working on a different project, some innovation in another company or something like this. If you know this, you can uh, get this experience, get this idea, talk about this idea, and try to implement, in your own company. So basically, it's this: be connected with people, share knowledge, learn with others too, and you feed a great circle of virtue. Basically, it's this. We already talked about a lot in the conversation.
Yeah. Just to add something here too, there are a lot of creators on the network nowadays. So, for example, we have the top voices on LinkedIn, for example. So you can start following them, and if possible, a tip that I gave to you guys is make your network more closed according to your area of activity. Because this way you will receive more and more content about it specifically, So sometimes it also could help. But follow those kind of people, those kind of creators. It is really good for you guys to keep learning.
V, this is a
Uh,
quite
you
nice
can go.
tip.
No.
Just to comment, it's nice if you, let's say, niche the community that you want to be part, so if you are talking with IT people, a lot of topics that are
Exactly.
important for IT will come arise. The same for TA communities, engineer communities, project communities. So we have meetups and things like that that you can be attending, and working to generate this kind of connections.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And we talk a lot about technical skills, and I want to ask something about soft skills. What tips would you give to someone who is shy or introverted and has difficult to do some network?
That's nice. Can I start, Vivi?
Go ahead.
Yes, I will ask excuse here and bring some personal hobby that I have in my life. That is, networking is like jiu-jitsu, you know. So, example, in jiu-jitsu, you have different kinds of bodies, different weights, different mindsets. But everyone trains and everyone does, in different ways. So networking can be adaptable for you in the same way, like okay, I'm not so extrovert. I'm feel angry when I have to read someone. I don't know how to structure, how to approach. All right, but I can be in some kind of community, for example, see some topic that people are talking about, and that I can share some kind of knowledge and try to contribute in some way, or even bring this topic for my company to discuss with people that I feel more comfortable about, you know. So, example, just bring some example. I know some talent acquisition team are discussing some kind of topic on some kind of community about using ER in the process. Okay, I have some experience to talk about it, but I don't want to expose myself here. What is the blocker to take this topic and discuss with your colleagues that you have confidence? This is not working. True, you know. So don't associate networking exactly with this kind of extrovertical profile or something like that. Be sure that you can build good relationships, good networking in your style, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Ricky. I think that you can go slowly, you don't need to try to already be open with the person and, oh my God, let's talk about our lives already and let's take a coffee or something like that. No, you can just go slow. They're like, hey, how are you? So let's try to do some benchmarking someday and maybe try to talk about this subject specifically, or share with me some tips that you have. Like, just go slowly in your time, take your time, and breathe a little bit, and everything will be okay.
Like you don't need to be a social seller tomorrow,
Yeah,
something like this.
exactly. You don't need to, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just pointing that this also is useful for the interviews. We are all recruiters here, and we get that sometimes we are going to interview some candidates that is very shy or doesn't like to talk a lot about himself. So you guys don't have to worry about that. We understand this, and just Vivi said, the conversation is going on, and sometimes at some point we are talking about a lot of things as something that you really enjoy, and it's easier for both of us, so we can understand each other during this interview, so don't worry about that. So I'm gonna ask a last questions for us, go to the questions that these guys can have for us. And I want to ask, how can networking help to identify and acquire new skills relevant to the current job market?
Okay, I can go here. I think that it's important for you to do a benchmark, for example, so to understand the new technologies and tools that are being used in companies and how they are being used. So this way, I think that you can have a better idea of where to go deeper and continue with your continuous learning. That is also a very important point here for us at the core, that we encourage a lot here is really for you to keep learning. We try to stimulate that a lot here. So I think that those benchmarks is really, really good for this. It helps a lot to understand what they are doing there. So, for example, right now we are talking a lot about artificial intelligence. So this could be a topic. Oh, okay, trying to do some prompt here, but I have some doubts here. So let's try to find a company that is already doing it, already using. Find a developer there, try to talk with them, and try to understand what you could do with this. So I think that this way could be a good idea to keep updating this way. Not sure, Ricky, if you have something to add to.
No, Vi.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you guys for sharing all of this. Now let's see the questions that we may have. I see that Guilherme, sorry, has a question. I think that sometimes people, including myself, feel that they are bothering or being insistent. What do you guys, as recruiters, think about that?
Okay, I can go. Yeah, no, I know that sometimes you maybe can feel like this. I don't, to be honest. So for me, it's not something that bothered me. So that's okay. I think that it's really someone trying to do some networking. So I don't see any problem with this. But I need to confess here that sometimes I take a while to reply because usually I use more, for example, I don't know, LinkedIn Recruiter than my LinkedIn itself. So sometimes I really take a while to reply, but I swear that one day I will be there and I will reply everyone. But I don't think that really that this is a problem. I think that it's actually really important because not only you guys can learn something with us, but we also can learn something with you. So try to understand better about your job, what you do, what tools you use, technologies or something like this. And that is something that it's always add for us to in our career. So for us, it's also important to keep this touch. Yeah, so that's the way I see it, at least.
Yes, I have some examples to share with Guilherme. Vivi. Can I? If it's some
Yeah, sure.
things that already happened with me. Guilherme, as we mentioned before, and Vivi said again, uh, be polite, objective, and know what you want. This is a good framework, to approach new people. But I can share with you some good and bad examples. Sometimes I added a person my LinkedIn, and he sent me a lot of messages uh, without any logic. Just asking for connection and things like that, but no true worth content. And in the other hand, a lot of junior professionals already asked me, "Hey, Henrique, I'm entering the IT market. Can you take some time to review my LinkedIn profile, for example, and help me with your tips, your perception, and things like that?" Hey, for sure, I can. The most part of people that you ask it, this kind of thing will help you. As Vivi said, we are all working, involved with different activities and things like that. But people usually like to share and help and be helped too. So is everything your approach and your balance. Be objective, be polite, and try to share and talk about interesting topics that indeed agrees, aggregate in the other for both sides.
Okay, great. So the next one is actually from my sister. So Alicia asked, how do you guys think that may be a good way to approach a recruiter about a specific job?
Okay, I can talk a little bit more about it. I think that it's kind of the same, like try to be objective about what you want, but always being polite. Remember, the basic is always good. But yeah, I think that this is the best way, So I receive sometimes a lot of messages saying that they are interested in some positions about, for example, the marketing area, for example, that is not mine. But I already know what this person wants, and sometimes they already say, oh, I am a mid-level analyst, so I am looking for a marketing job right now. So I already know what this person wants, and I will be able to direct this person for the recruiter responsible for the area, for example. Or maybe I will already know if we have or don't this position open, and be able to tell this person like, oh, unfortunately, right now we don't have an open position, but we can keep looking in our website. It's always up to date. So I think that it maybe is the best approach for me at least. But that's it. It's something kind of personal, It will be different for each recruiters and also for each person who wants to approach a recruiter. So yeah, I think that go with the basic that will work for everyone.
Yeah. So I'm not sure also that if you all saw that last week, we opened a space in our Instagram page, so you could send us questions for the session. So let's see what questions we had. I'm going to select two of them. The first one is, how do I become part of the core team? Is English mandatory? For the most positions, yes, but you guys can go.
Yeah. We have a lot of opportunities here at Core. You can take a look in our job career page, and English is quite important. We are a global company, working different regions with different customers all over the world. Yes, English is important, but please take a look on the opportunities that make sense for you. Okay, sometimes we can have some kind of flexibility, but for most part of the cases, English is quite important.
Nice. And the second one is, how can I stand out in a selection process?
Yeah, I can go with this one. Okay. So I think that as we already talk about it during this session, I think that showing interested in the company and the position, then show that you reached us is also really cool for us to know. That, oh, okay, I took a look at in your website or your LinkedIn page, so I saw those kind of things, and I think that it's very interested. So this is something that it's really cool for us to see. But having a good storytelling also makes a difference. So as I already told before, for example, using star methodology, try to make your story more concrete with what you are telling to us. Because remember that we want to know we want to know what are your main responsibilities, what are your tasks that you are doing. So I think that it's also really important. Yeah, I think that's it.
Vivi, can I add something?
Yeah,
you
sure.
know, it just remembered me about the question: how can I use my networking to outstand or taking part in a process? And this is a classical example. Vivi mentioned, for example, the STAR methodology. We use it a lot here at Ecor. It's our structure to star or car. It's our way to interview people, but some companies know, you know, and you can access your networking to try to understand if it makes sense or not for you and adopt your approach to the process.
Yeah, nice. Unfortunately, our time is ending, and I want to thank our special guest and everyone who chose to join us for this session. It was a pleasure to have you for this discussion today, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And if you guys want to stay up with e-Core news, please check on comments the link to our talent community. This is one more way to be in touch with e-Core. We usually send updates from the company, job openings, and next event, and so much more. And thank you all. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, Fê. Bye, Vi. Thank you a lot
Bye
for this
bye.
time.